Rochester. How are you? It's Thursday at 3, and we want to welcome you to our first virtual lecture series on music. We have a super first guest to kick us off. Please welcome Mr. Damien Crutcher. Mr. Crutcher is part of the music faculty at Wayne State University, and he's also the founder of Crescendo Detroit, and that's a music and arts program for school-aged children that I'm sure he's going to tell us a little bit more about. Mr. Crutcher is going to bring a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge to us. He's got a rich history as a public school teacher, a band director. He conducts a community band. What else do you do, Mr. Crutcher?
I conduct 2 community bands. I also conduct the civic concert band down at Detroit Symphony Orchestra, which is mostly middle school students. It's new the last couple of years.
So they rehearse down at Orchestra Hall?
Yep, Saturdays, 11 o'clock.
Wow. So middle school band kids, you should ask your band teachers about that.
Absolutely. They'll be holding online auditions next month sometime. We'll let you know. We'd love to have some of you with us. I've got kids from all over Michigan in that group.
Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, Mr. Crutcher, can you tell us a little bit about you and how your experiences in music have shaped your life and what opportunities music has given you and just kind of about the role of music for you?
Sure, I could do that. I've been involved in music over probably 36 or 7 years. I started in 4th grade in Detroit public schools. 4th grade, I started on trombone, but I quit. And then the next year I started on trumpet. And so I played trumpet through middle school in DPS, and then I started playing French horn in high school, which really opened up a lot of doors for me. Playing French horn took me a lot of places. I did undergrad at MSU in music education. And I did a master's in conducting from the University of Michigan, all because of music, because of the opportunity I had playing an instrument. So that's my life, that's my educational background in a nutshell. It changed my life forever playing in music. I had 2 older brothers who did not graduate high school, and I could have fallen into that, but music absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. And I love it. There's nothing like doing what you love every day. Even when it's frustrating, it's still fun.
Yeah, it doesn't always come easy, right?
Oh, no, it's hard work, right? It's hard work, it's dedication, it's listening to teachers bug you about practice slips and practicing. Did you take your instrument home? Blah, blah, blah. But it's worth the sacrifice. It's worth the time commitment. The people that you meet in life, in music are your friends for life, and there's a special bond. So it's worth it. It's worth all the time and effort, definitely.
So could you tell us a little bit about the best thing that has ever happened to you because of music?
Oh, wow, there's so many things. Okay, I can tell you a couple things. Okay, so when I got to Cass Tech in high school in Detroit, I was such a bad trumpet player that my band director said that he said, Mr. Crutcher, you should probably pick something else to play. And I said, okay. And so I was watching PBS one night. I don't know why at 16 I was watching PBS. I don't know. But they had this orchestra on, and they did a camera went behind the orchestra. And I saw the French horn section. So I went to school the next day. And I said, Mr. Shelby, I want to play that instrument that they put their hand in the bell like this. And of course he laughs at me, right? He says, Mr. Crutcher is called a French horn. I said, that's what I want to play. I want to play that. And because I switched to French horn and not too many people play horn and play it well, it really did some stuff for me. I got a chance to go to Interlochen music camp for 2 weeks. And I was there with some of the best players from across the world. And our conductor was Larry Radcliffe, who was phenomenal. And those 2 weeks are the weeks where I decided I wanted to be a band director and a conductor. From that experience, I got a scholarship to go. There was great music, great fun, great people. I'm still friends with a lot of the people that were there to this day. So that was one of those times I remember. I mean, there's so many.
So Hey kids, did you guys hear that? I know you're all chatting on the side view there, which is great. You know, we miss you too. But did you hear Mr. Crutcher say how he did not start playing the horn until he was in high school?
High school.
And he is now a professional musician, like committed his life to music. So sometimes it just goes to show you that a little work, a little tenacity. If you're not sure what tenacity means, you got to look that one up, guys. Okay. A little work, a little tenacity, a little not giving up can really take you far places.
That's right.
That's amazing because sometimes we think that, Mr. Crutcher, I bet you've had this experience with your students too. Like you either can play or you can't play.
Right.
Like, you know, when people are like, "Oh, he's so talented." Right. Well, it doesn't sound like you were that talented on the trumpet.
Right. I think about that a lot. I was thinking about that this morning as I was getting ready for this. There's some of you students who, when you picked up the instrument, you picked up the drumsticks, you picked up the bow or whatever, you had it down, you got it. It was easy for you. It was fine. And then there's some of us who it takes us a while to get it. It takes us a year. It takes us 2 years. It takes us 3 years. We're in the middle of the section or we're at the end of the section. We don't win the challenges. But at some point it clicks. Like it clicks and you'll take off at your own speed, but you have to work at your own speed. And I've learned over the years that I've been teaching, 30 years, that you never count a kid out. You never count a kid out because that's the kid that's going to make it. And if you're that student that feels like that, just work a little hard, be patient, ask questions, practice. And I promise you, at some point, you will turn a corner.
I think that's a great message for the kids because, you know, it's hard. You know, I was not a very good clarinet player, you know,
really?
And so bad, the clarinet. And you know, I think it's sometimes hard to watch the kids who just like get it right away. Right. But your story is awesome because it doesn't matter when you get it; it just matters you do it.
Just get it. Just get it. And even after teaching all these years, there are some things. I was talking to my conducting teacher the other day. He called to check on me, and there were some things that he tried to teach me years ago that I'm just now getting. Right? And so there's some things you get over time. There's some things we learn as teachers and adults over time. We say, oh, okay, now we got it. So you really have to kind of cut yourself a little bit of slack.
Who was your conducting teacher?
Ace Robert Reynolds.
At the University of Michigan.
University of Michigan. Yeah.
So, hey, can you make that connection for the kids? Like, studying conducting with H. Bob was like, is that like training on a basketball court with
Michael Jordan?
Oh yeah, he's
do the kids know that name? Do they know that name, Michael Jordan? Steph,
do you know that name?
Steph Curry. It's like training. It's like training one-on-one for 2 years with that person. Right, and he is still, he's considered the #1 band conductor in the world. And so when I went to Michigan, I studied with him. In my first year, I was his only student.
Oh wow!
And then the next year he added one more. We only took 2 students every couple of years. And I think that's important too for the kids to understand that this relationship they have with you, with Mrs. Reaver, all the other teachers, that's a lifelong relationship. Like I've been out of the University of Michigan over 23 years. And here's my conducting teacher calling me to check on me to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
So it's a lifelong commitment that we have with students over the years.
So when you were studying with Professor Reynolds, was it all like flowers and roses? And did you walk in and he was just like, oh, Damien, you're like the greatest thing that ever happened?
No,
or was it kind of tough?
Oh, it's never like that. It should never be that way. If it is, you better run. But it should always be, at some point when you're working with a teacher, they should challenge you every day. And if they don't challenge you, then that's not a good situation, because we want to challenge you to be the very best you can and to give you all the tools necessary to succeed. So we had a good relationship. We still do. He believed in me when I did stuff well. He told me, he said, that's good. He said, that's good, but I'm going to show you how to do it better. Right? He said, so try this. And this is why this works a little bit better. And I would be amazed. And I remember my second semester at Michigan, I was working hard. So I was working hard. I was practicing, conducting 2 or 3 hours, watching my videotapes every night. I wouldn't leave Ravelli Hall at Michigan until midnight. And you know what he said to me one day? He says, you know what? You're doing good work, but I want you to work harder. I said, oh, are you serious? I said, what? Work harder? He said, yes. He said, I want you to work harder. And so I did. And it paid off. It still pays off to this day. Just the discipline of working harder, learning yourself, what you do well and what you don't do well. Because we all have those things, right? I do this really well, but I suck at this. This is awful. So let me really keep this going, but let me work on this stuff here so that I have kind of equilibrium going on. Like if you're a player in middle school, sometimes it's tough to articulate, to tongue, to play staccato, or it's hard to play slurred and melodious or whatever. So you really have to spend some time on those areas where you're weak. So no, it wasn't roses and flowers. It was not. It was a good time, but it was a very high expectation. But my time at Michigan State as undergrad really prepared me for my time at Michigan, which they balance each other out for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
So you were going to tell us another story about an influential time, and I totally interrupted you. Sorry about that. My students are probably laughing because I interrupt a lot.
That's good. No, it's okay. It's good.
Sorry,
it's good.
guys.
It's okay. It's okay. So another time, God, there's so many.
Or the best thing it was the best thing that ever happened to you.
I think the interlocking experience was one. And then the second thing, which kind of led to the interlocking experience, was that there was a guy who was a graduate of the high school I went to, Cass Tech, who had come back from Harvard. He had studied horn and stuff. He was looking for students. And so this guy comes in. He's really tall. He's African American. He's got this French horn on his back. He's looking for private students. So I said, hey, I'll take lesson. So I would catch the bus to his house, which is in the neighborhood where I live now, actually here in Detroit. So I drive past that bus stop every day, and I would take lessons from him. But he invited me to play duets with him at his church. I said, we're going to play at church? He said, yeah, we're going to play. So we go to this church in Detroit, and it's like they have this orchestra. We have a brass quartet. There are 3 horn players and a trombone player. There's a choir. There are all these doctors and engineers and teachers, right, that look like me, that I went to Michigan and Oberlin Conservatory and all those things. So I was in the middle of heaven. I learned so much, and my church paid for my private lessons. They gave me a scholarship every semester when I was in school at MSU. And so that was critical. That was fun too. That was fun. So I have to tell you how I spent my Saturdays in high school. I have to tell you that when we get a chance. I have to tell you what I did. I was such a nerd. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you. I was proud to be that. I was such a music band, I loved it. So this was my Saturdays in high school, junior year and senior year. I would start in the morning at 9:00 in the Wayne State Honor Band. And then we would catch the bus over to Cass Tech for the All City Honor Band. And then I would get a lift over to Ford Auditorium to play in the Civic Orchestra, Detroit Symphony Civic Orchestra. And then a friend of mine would pick me up, and we would go to church and have brass quartet rehearsal, orchestra rehearsal, choir rehearsal. So from 9 to 8 every Saturday, It was nothing but music.
And this was when you were in high school?
High school, junior and senior year of high school.
Wow.
It kept me out of a lot of trouble.
You must have had some incredible chops.
I did. For someone who had just started, my chops were pretty good, but my musicianship was better than my chops.
Right, because you were always a good musician. The trumpet was just a bad fit.
It was a bad fit, and the horn was pretty good. I could have started it earlier, but the musicianship, learning the horn, helped kind of set me apart a little bit as a teacher and a conductor.
Interesting.
I know
So,
it worked out that well.
so
It
as
worked
a
out well.
horn player, you had a chance to play you were a band guy because the horn players are in the band, but you also had a chance to play in the orchestras too, right?
Right. Yes.
So, guys, our orchestra kids that are out there right now, we don't have full orchestras because we're only with 6th and 7th grade right now since we're a brand new program. But when you guys get up into the high school, you're going to have your wind and percussion friends from the band room come and join you. So
Right.
that is something I think full orchestra playing is the greatest thing ever. I could play second bassoon in an orchestra for the rest of my life and be a happy woman.
That's right, because it's like the range of colors and
Yeah.
sounds from violin, viola, cello, string, bass. And then the next row is what your oboe, bassoon, flute, piccolo, clarinets. And then the next row you have horns and trumpets and tuba, percussion. It's just this massive cacophony of
And like that
timbres and
sea of strings in front of you, just
like,
all exactly.
and the string players are doing this.
Yes.
And I just think that there's certain sounds that, and this goes without saying, but there's certain sounds that the string orchestra can make that no one else can imitate. So string kids, yeah, that's going to be special. There's a certain range of tone and timbres and collection of sounds that range from like yellow to burgundy that the strings can get. The band comes close. We do well, but the string orchestra really is special in that way.
I think so too.
Yeah, and no, everybody can't play a violin or a viola. Oh my God, or a string bass for that matter.
Right. Did you ever sing?
You know what? I cannot sing, but I was forced to sing. I was forced in high school. I was in study hall, and the choir teacher came into the study hall and grabbed me. He says, "I need you in my madrigal group." I said, "No." He said, "Yes." He said, "This is Cass Tech. You don't tell us no. Come on." I said, "Oh, what?" So he put me in his madrigals. He made me sing in solo and ensemble festival. I had to do the whole thing.
That's awesome.
I said, also, and I can't hold a pitch. Oh my, you should hear me. So, well, you've heard me in the class rehearsing your group. It's like, oh my God, this is awful. But it's
So
good.
choir kids, you never know when Doc Ulrich or Maestro Blue or Miss Likens might be coming out to just yank you out of the cafeteria.
Right. And I just want to say this too, that young people, you all are fortunate to have so many good string, band, and choir teachers in your district. You all have some of the very best around. Mr. Ulrich can do it all. He's one of those he can do it all.
Yeah, he's pretty special.
He's pretty special, right?
Yeah,
When I come around him, and we do stuff together with Detroit Chamber Winds, I have to have my act together. I got to know what I'm doing. But yeah, but the school district has Mrs. Reaver. I mean, you got so many fantastic teachers at your disposal.
We got some fantastic kids.
Oh, for the students I've worked with over the years, have been fantastic. Like this past year, I think I did a clinic with Stony Creek High School, and I forgot the name of the middle school. We're Hart, yeah, Hart, and it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure. They are some good students over there, our little Heart Eagles, and
Right. They're good kids.
can't
They
remember the
listen.
mascot at Stony Creek. How horrible! Cougars. They're Cougars.
Cougars, Cougars. Yeah, they're good kids. Good kids. Good district.
Um, if you let's see if we well first let's see if we got any kid questions.
Okay.
Kids, you are sending in questions for Mr. Crutcher, I know. Let's see what they got for us. So what have you been doing during quarantine? Practicing the horn?
Not really. It took me, honestly, it just took me a little bit of time to get cracking again. So I've been listening to music, thinking
Oh,
about
what's on your playlist?
like thinking about stuff for next year. Like okay, so the Farmington Community Band, which is has will be celebrating its 55th season next year. So the Farmington Community Band is a band that meets on Monday nights. The age of the players range from 16 years old to 87 years old.
Wow.
And I have 90 players in that group. So next year we are going to do a concert, maybe we'll see, at Hill Auditorium in the spring.
That's awesome.
So I'm just going through music by composers to see what I want to do. I want to make sure I pick a diverse group of composers. So I'm looking at women composers like Julie Giroux, the African American composers like Omar Thomas and Kevin Day, um, and people like that, like Kate. Like I'm sure a lot of your kids have played some of Kate Nishimura's music,
Oh yeah.
right? Something
Yep.
just making sure I cover the range. But we're so fortunate now because we have YouTube, right? We can just go on YouTube and just click, 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 click. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And then for same thing for my DSO group, my middle school group that some of you should be in next year, by the way.
Oh yeah, middle school kids, we're gonna get you some
Right,
information because you want to be in this guy's group for
right.
sure.
Yeah, I've got kids from all over from Detroit, Farmington, Ferndale, Taylor, from all over Michigan.
It's time
And
for Rochester to represent because we got some amazing
do
musicians.
I need some of you all, and we need some of the string kids in our orchestra. So we have down at the DSO, we have 3 youth bands, and we have 5 orchestras,
Wow.
and I think 3 jazz bands that students can participate in from 6th grade all the way till they graduate from high school.
Okay, well, guys, we're gonna get you some information about these groups because those are phenomenal extra opportunities for you to be making some music, meeting some new people, getting
Yep.
some new perspectives. Mr. Crutcher, we got some questions from the kids. We
Okay.
got, what is your favorite instrument? You better say
Favorite instrument? Well, French horn number 1 because I play it.
right.
But I think number 2 would be cello,
Ooh,
and third would be bassoon. And they're all kind of in the same timbre range, but I like those instruments.
nice.
Those are my 3 favorite.
Um, what is your favorite genre of music?
Favorite genre?
Yeah,
Uh, well,
I bet the kid means when you're not listening to classical or to band music.
right. But I'm such a classical guy. Classical music is what I listen to, but I also love gospel music. I mean, I love it. I love gospel and some jazz. Yeah, and some like the old 80s and 90s. I'm gonna date myself. The old 80s and 90s techno club music. That's good stuff too, but I'm not that's just okay.
YouTube it up, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
you tip it up. You'll hear it. You hear it all the time, but it was kind of born in Detroit, a lot of it. And so we have a good history here of that.
But it's got ties in what we do every day in the
Oh,
classroom. It's all
all the music, yeah, all of that music, the R&B stuff, the rock, the classical, the gospel, the jazz, country, western, heavy metal. It really does connect in a lot of ways. And more music now that we do in band and orchestra and choir, is fusing those elements, which is exciting. Kind of
That
makes us less square.
you mean that music teachers can be nerdy?
Yeah, we can slightly.
That has not been the student experience in Rochester because their music teachers in Rochester are incredibly cool.
They're cool. They're cool. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
When I used to do that with my high school students, they would say, "Mr. Crutcher, don't do that. Don't be cool. Just be you." I said, "Okay, okay, okay. Just be you."
Never say that again, right?
Right.
We have another question for you. How much time did it take before you were good at the French horn?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that first of all, as good as our band directors and our teachers are, orchestra teachers, choir teachers are, there's nothing that replaces taking private lessons. That is so important. If you want to get good fast, find a way to take a private lesson. So I was taking lessons right away. So if I started in January, by the time school came around in September, I was able to compete in auditions for the top band,
Wow.
which has some good players in it. I mean, they have some fantastic players. So I spent the whole summer just playing and practicing and listening to music. And so, um, but you'll see progress. Like for the middle school students, every year you'll notice, wow, I couldn't play that last year. I can play this now. You know, you'll notice that your progress. The more time you put in, the more progress you'll make, and you'll start to see it soon.
A student really wants to know, do you give private lessons?
Do I get private horn lessons? No,
Uh, yeah, I think so.
really, I don't. I don't. Isn't that something? I don't. But there's so many good. You know what? There's so many good teachers out there, like Christy Crago, Sue Mutter. We can help you find a good teacher. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy. I don't know. You don't want me. I don't practice I don't practice horn enough nowadays because I'm doing so much teaching and conducting.
All right. Well,
Like
that's fair.
how much time do you get to your bassoon?
Hours a day. No, you're right. I mean, once we're teaching, I know it's always the first thing that goes is our own practicing.
Like,
Which is hard because we want to we want to keep up on our skills too. But we get distracted with helping the kids keep up on theirs for sure.
right. And if you
Um,
have a family, your own family, your kids, so
um, let's see. We got some more questions from the kids. Do you play piano?
a little bit.
Just
Just enough to finish class piano at Michigan State. The teacher put the teacher put me out. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, she put me out.
you're
She was so
spending too much time practicing the horn, right?
yeah, she put me out my freshman year. She said, "Go to the other class. You can't handle this class." Okay, whatever. So I play a little bit piano.
This is a great question from one of our kids. If you're not going to make music your career, then what do you get out of studying it while you're in school?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that there's so many things we get out of it just from being in this. It's the first of all the pure joy of making music. There's nothing like it. Like being in a group of people working together, making music, understanding yourself. We understand ourselves better by studying music. And of course, the discipline that we learn, the structure. You know, we're not allowed to give up in band. We try. And the relationships that you that you develop in band sometimes could be your relationships for life. And colleges want to know, did you participate in orchestra, band, choir? They want to know that because there's a certain set of skills you learn, like getting along with people, making things happen, not giving up, working diligently, being tenacious, um, being able to deal with failure sometimes, getting back up. retrying over and over and repeating stuff over and over again, memorizing music. There are a lot of great. I've taught a lot of great uh, doctors, lawyers, teachers, entrepreneurs, music producers who use those skills to this day in what they do.
So those adults that are in your community band, those aren't a bunch of like professional musicians.
No, no. Some of them could have been if they wanted to, but some of them are retired music teachers. Some of them are secretaries, doctors, social workers, entrepreneurs, freelance musicians. I've got a couple of dentists, lawyers, accountants, where they just want to play. So I think besides the skills that we develop, I think just the love of music. We also develop from being in band, orchestra, and choir, the love of music. That's going to last a lifetime. And wherever you go, you can play. Like I said, there are so many community bands in the area. Even when you go to college, there's always a campus band for non-music majors. So if you're an engineering major, you might decide, okay, I'm going to do this, but once a week, I'm going to go and not be with those folks. I want to be with the music people or other folks. Just get away from that and just make music.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that helped. Does that help?
I think so. It's kind of cool to know that as a musician, no matter where you are in the world, there's some network and some community that you belong to just by virtue of being this musician.
For sure. And there's some people I've seen this a lot, that there are people who are just say they're engineers and they get to this 15-year point in their career and they've made the money and they say, you know what? I've got money, I'm good, but I want to play also. And so they play their instruments at night in our groups, in my groups, or they start a rock band, right? Or they start composing music as well as doing engineering. Because when they retire, they're looking at doing other things also. But the skill set that we develop and the passion that we develop, that transcends occupations across the board.
And it's kind of, those skills are applicable to other occupations too. The things that make you a great musician, the things that you're learning in your rehearsals in the classroom every day, that's what's going to make you a great engineer. That's what's going to make you a great doctor.
Right. Like the focus it takes. The focus. I've got this music in front of me. I've got to watch Miss Holden. I've got to watch the teacher. I've got to do the dynamics. I got to read the stuff. I got to keep the tempo. I got to keep the pulse. I got to be in tune. I got to do the right fingers. All those things of problem solving. That's what doctors do. And if you look at the folks who are on the front line now, with what's going on, I mean, they have to be focused, and they have to be able to solve problems quickly because of what's going on.
Right.
Society, and they can't quit. They got to keep going. And we learned that in music. We learned that.
Well, that was a pretty heavy question.
That was good though.
That was a great question though. I'm so proud of our kids.
They're doing well. Good questions. They're not falling asleep on me. That's good.
Here's another great one. It says, when you get discouraged, what do you do to motivate yourself?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Sometimes, and it can happen. It can happen a few times a year. I think that you have to kind of step away from it for a day or so, and you have to do some other things that you really like to do. Like for me, I like to eat food. Right? I like to go out with friends and eat food. So I'll go out and treat myself out to a night with friends, or I'll call up one of my mentors and say, "Hey, I think I'm getting burned out here. I think I'm having a bad day." And so you have to know when self-care is important, and have people you can lean on. I could text some friends and say, "Hey, let's talk. I didn't have a good day today. Can we talk?" And we'll talk and laugh. But you got to have that balance. You got to know how to refuel, how to re-energize, how to regain your passion. So that's important.
Because it's going to happen to everybody, don't you think?
Say it again.
That's gonna happen to everybody. I
Oh
mean, you
yes,
must have come in your career, you probably have worked with, it's probably not an exaggeration to say tens of thousands of musicians that you've worked with, probably even more than that. You know?
could be.
I mean, people, we're going to get discouraged because what we're
Yes.
doing is not easy.
It's not easy work. No, it's not easy. It's not easy work. It's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes we get frustrated with kids. Sometimes kids get frustrated with us. They're like, "Oh, Mr. Crutcher," you
Right.
know.
Like, stop asking me to do the same thing that you asked me to do for the last 2 weeks. Like, I'm
Right.
ready to move on. And,
I,
it's our job to be like, no, we want you to get even better.
even better, even better.
It's hard.
And that's going to be a life skill you have to learn to know, to realize when you're burning out, and to be able to do something before you crash and burn.
Right.
Right? And I'm telling you, for me, if I can go somewhere, if I can go to Hunter House and eat me a good hamburger, I'm good.
I don't know if our kids know what Hunter House is. Yeah.
Hunter House is like it's like it's like a bougie upscale White Castle hamburger.
It's so bad.
It's so bad, right? It's like there's one on Woodward in Birmingham, and they're like this little. And you just go in there and it smells like grease and onions, but they've got the best hamburgers and the shakes. You just go in there, toss a few down, laugh with friends, and you're okay.
Throw up. Immediate gut rot. One of the kids wants to know, how many instruments can you play?
Oh wow. It's one thing about Michigan State University that separated it from other schools is that they made us take a semester of every instrument. So I took a semester of oboe, a semester of flute, a
Wow.
semester of tuba euphonium, a semester of bassoon, cello. So I could, back in the day, I could kind of play all of them enough to diagnose students' problems when I started teaching,
Right.
which was good. They really, I had 21 credits, right? It was insane. And those are 1 credit classes, and you have to practice that oboe every night.
I know, so much work for a 1 credit class.
It was too much work, but it was, once I started teaching, I appreciated it. So I could play all of them a little bit, where I could teach, like a Crescendo. I'll pull out my trumpet, I'll pull out a saxophone, I'll pull out a flute, and just play along with the kids when I need to.
Um, One of the kids said hey, Miss Fulmar, we might need some help on this one. It says, can you talk about the music recordings you made back in college that you referred to earlier?
The music recordings.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what I said, but we did do we I can't remember. I can't remember. But I do remember at Michigan State we did a CD when I was there. We recorded a CD. If you go on YouTube, it's called To the Fore, FORE. It's music of Percy Granger.
Ooh.
And it is still, to me, and a lot of people, one of the very best recordings of his music ever. We had to do it at 2 in the morning at the School of Music because the traffic from outside the music building would bleed in the noise. So we had to do it at 2 in the morning where there's no traffic.
Wow.
And so I was in that group. Who else was in that group? I was in that group. Eric Kremens, which is the Scripps.
Slacker.
Right. He was my roommate in college, believe it or not, for a couple of years. Eric Kremens. A lot of music educators were in that group. Maybe Rick Catherman, Susan
Wow.
Weekend, all those people, we were in it together. So, yeah, so that's one recording I did.
Okay, so band kids, you're gonna Google or YouTube search Percy Granger. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, composer for wind band.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite Granger piece?
Oh my God, I think
I know it's like Sophie's Choice, right?
Lincoln Sharp Posey is this one that he wrote that really good high school bands and colleges play. But Irish Tune is great. Shepherd's Hay, Molly on the Shore. All those pieces are good.
Yeah,
pieces.
so fun. Oh, so fun.
The kids should probably listen to. They should probably listen to like Irish Tune from County Derry. that'll be nice to listen to kind of get Granger's flavor.
Oh, the student who was asking about those recordings was talking about Detroit Symphony Youth Wind Ensemble recordings. Are those up on YouTube also?
I think the Wind Ensemble recording. I think so. Yeah, I
So
think so.
you can search for that. It's what is it? Detroit Symphony Civic. Are they all civic ensembles now?
Yeah, civic ensembles. Yeah. So the Wind Symphony is usually like 11th, 12th graders, symphony band. And then I have the concert band, which is middle school students. I'm just preparing them to go through the ranks.
You might be able to find that too if you go to the Detroit Symphony YouTube channel. They have their own channel, and there might just be a playlist there. I can't remember if the civic stuff is on there. Here's a super, super important question.
Okay.
Pineapple on pizza?
You know what? Sometimes.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Can you circular breathe?
I can barely breathe, so no, I can't. I can't. I have some friends that can, but I can't do it. I can't.
Well, it's like in through the nose and
Oh no, it's like in and out through the mouth at the same time.
Yeah, whichever student asked that one, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do it either. It's not natural.
It's not natural. Like Randy Scott, who teaches band at Bernie Middle School in Southfield. He's a fantastic saxophonist. He does it well. I mean, he does it. He can play a note for 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm going to mispronounce this because I think it's a pop culture thing that I don't understand.
And I'm not going to know either.
Do you think theremin counts as a real instrument?
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting. I hear about it more and more lately than I used to. Right, the theremin, absolutely.
All right.
Does that student play it? Do they play theremin?
Miss Reaver, if you can find out, does that student play it? And then we also have another question. Have you ever dropped?
Hey, Miss Reaver.
Have you ever dropped your instrument? The answer is no, because you have protected.
I've never dropped my French horn. No, I would cry. No, it's just something that we just don't do that. We just don't, because it took so much for me to get it. I had to. The horn I play on, my second teacher, Brian Kennedy, was in the Detroit Symphony. And so the horn I play on was the horn that he won his DSO audition with.
No, really?
Yeah, so I play on his old horn, and I paid for some of it, and then there was a scholarship that helped me pay the other half to buy it from him when I was leaving for college. Right, so no. It's a collector's item too. No.
That's that horn's got some soul.
Oh, it's got some soul to it.
That's got a history.
It's got yes, it does. So you can never drop it or bump it or crash it. No.
But even if your instrument does not have a soulful history of winning a DSO audition,
right,
you still have to keep your instrument off the floor.
You got to keep off the floor. Flute players don't put it on the stand when you walk away. Trumpet players don't set it on the bell when you walk away. Someone's gonna knock it over.
I know. Our little ones especially, like they have the greatest intentions. Like you see them like putting it on their stand so carefully because that's what's good. Their heart's in the right place.
It is. They'll learn. When they get their first repair bill, they'll learn.
Oh. Do you play guitar or ukulele?
I don't. Not at all. I wouldn't even know what to do.
I can kind of see you sitting around the bonfire though. Like
yeah. In my mind, I would want to and sing some folk songs, but I can't.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite period of classical music?
Wow, that's a good question. Because I was thinking this the other day. For me, I think that I really like Baroque music, like 1685. Bach. I know it's crazy. Bach, Vivaldi, Handel, but then I also like really contemporary 20th century band music too. So I like both I don't want to say extremes of both areas.
I would say that those are extreme.
Baroque music and really out there band and wind ensemble music.
Wow.
Crescendo, Vivaldi, Bach, Corelli, all those folks.
Okay, so guys, when you're home now on the stay home order and you got time to be looking at stuff on YouTube, Google some of these great composers. Your teachers will all put suggestions up on, I'm sure. See, now I'm talking for the whole department. Like, we will all do this for you.
Right.
We'll put some good suggestions up for you to YouTube to listen to some of this great stuff that Mr. Crutcher's talking about. Let's see what else we got. Oh, about the civic ensembles, the Detroit civic ensembles. This is a great question. Is there going to be a way that we can apply for auditions even though we're on the stay home, like during this time of social distancing and everything?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. They because we're moving to only online auditions.
Oh.
And so they should reach out to go to the website and reach out to someone in the Wu Family Academy. You'll click on and see the civic programs. And then I think the directors are going to get an email also. If you all don't, let me know. But if you want to email Michaela Chapman, so that's M Chapman at dso.org. And let her know I saw Mr. Crutcher. I want to do an audition for a civic concert band, for civic, and they'll place you in a group. We would love to have you. You get a chance to play on the stage at Orchestra Hall. You get a chance to work with some wonderful teachers. You get discounted tickets to DSO concerts whenever they start to happen again.
With their brand new conductor.
With their brand new conductor, who is awesome.
Yeah, he sounds like he's going to be amazing.
He's gonna be a breath of fresh air to the organization.
Guys, we will also put that all of your teachers will put the information about civic auditions too, because that's for any of our kids who are
string, percussion, winds, grade 6 on up.
Okay.
We really need low brass players, tuba, trombone, viola, bassoon, string bass, but we need everybody, but those are particularly shortages that we need to fix.
Excellent. Hey, music teachers, do you have any more questions for us? And we have another one too. Can you play multiphonics on the clarinet? Can we just talk for a second about how cool our kids in Rochester are?
Right. Those are good.
Multiphonics.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because I know that Elsa Vadere, Elsa Vadere was the professor of clarinet at Michigan State, and probably one of the world's greatest clarinetists. She could do all of that. She could do multiphonics. She could do higher notes that you can hear. Probably, she was phenomenal.
Wow.
So if you could look up Elsa Vadere, don't ask me how to spell her name. But she could do that. I know on French horn we could do multiphonics. Where you play a note and you hum the other note, and then the other note comes out because between the hum and the playing of the other note, something like that.
You guys got some time to experiment at home.
Those are good questions. Wow.
I know, for sure. So I think that those are the kid questions. I'm just trying to scroll back through here. I think any more for the teachers? I don't think so. But our last one, what's your hope for the future for when it comes to music?
That first of all, that every student in our country has access to being in a band, a choir, an orchestra, any kind of music program, and that the ones who have been blessed to be in one, that they continue to play throughout their life and then share that with somebody else who may not have had the opportunity.
Excellent. So, Mr. Crutcher, thanks so much for spending this time with us today.
Anytime. I had a blast. Those were terrific questions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rochester, we're so proud of you.
Yes.
thinking on this while we're at home. You were still using those noggins for sure.
Right.
Remember, your big takeaways from Mr. Crutcher is not always going to be easy, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
It's not always going to be immediate. It's okay to fail as long as you keep trying.
Right.
And these skills that you're learning in your music classes are going to take you all kinds of places. They're going to transfer into successes, whether you are a musician for your career choice or not. Like, these are all just solid skills that are going to just make you a more productive person. All right. So thank you so much, Mr. Crutcher. It's been amazing.
Anytime. And I'm sure I'll see some of you next year during festival season and all that. I'll be by, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it.
This was great. So, Rochester, you got something to go home and practice. Well, you are home. You got something to go and practice now. So we will be checking in with you in your classes. We miss you so much. And we'll see you next week for installment number 2 of our lecture series. Mr. Crutcher, this is a great way to start off our new thing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Owen, you want to do your thing?